The cabin at the end of the road. In the summer of 2023, I found myself in a tough spot. My dad and I were clashing hard, yelling matches that left me drained and desperate for space. I had to get out. That's when I stumbled across the cabin. It wasn't much, just a small rental at the end of a dirt road. But it was perfect for my situation. The guy who rented it from the landlord, let's call him my landlord for simplicity, had his own mess to deal with. Personal issues, he said, before vanishing and leaving the place to me on a month-to-month deal. I didn't care why he left. I just needed a roof, and this was it. The cabin wasn't fancy, but it had character. 2 floors, sort of. Downstairs, there was a cramped kitchen with a rusty sink and a living room big enough for a couch and an old TV. Upstairs, a single bedroom waited at the top of a narrow staircase. To get there, you had to lift a quirky hatch door in the floor, a wooden slab with a metal handle, no lock, just a latch that barely held. It creaked every time I opened it, a groan that echoed through the quiet. The bedroom itself was small, with a slanted ceiling, a lumpy mattress, and one round window that stared out into the dark. I liked it though. It was mine, at least for a while. I'd been there a month already, paid up for the second, and settled into a routine. The cabin sat alone at the road's end, flanked by a handful of other small houses. One was empty. I never saw lights or cars there. The others had people, I guessed, though I never met them. My life was work. 12-hour shifts that left me stumbling home exhausted, scarfing down a peanut butter sandwich and crashing in front of the TV until sleep took me. Neighbors didn't matter. I barely had energy to care. That night started like any other. It was late, past midnight, and the air felt heavy with summer heat. I dragged myself through the front door, kicked off my boots and made my usual, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a protein shake. My bones ached as I climbed the stairs, lifted the hatch and shut it behind me. I always closed that door. Something about leaving it open made my skin crawl, like I was exposed, like anything could creep up those steps while I slept. No lock, sure, but the weight of it gave me some comfort. I flopped onto the bed, flicked on the TV, and let the hum of a late-night show fill the silence. Then I heard it. "Who's up there?" The voice cut through the TV noise like a knife. Low, rough, and close. Too close. My heart slammed against my ribs and I bolted upright, blankets tangling around my legs. Was it inside? Outside? I couldn't tell. The cabin was old, the walls thin as paper, and sounds played tricks. I grabbed the remote with shaky fingers and muted the TV. Silence roared in my ears. I held my breath, straining to listen. Nothing. "Who's there?" I called, my voice cracking. It felt stupid, like shouting into a void, but I had to know. The quiet stretched on, thick and suffocating. I slid off the bed, knees trembling, and crawled to the round window above me. The glass was smudged, the night beyond it black as ink. No shapes, no movement, just the faint outline of trees swaying in the breeze. My breath fogged the pain as I pressed closer, searching. Still nothing. I turned back to the hatch. My hand hovered over the handle, cold metal biting my palm. What if someone was down there? What if they weren't? I swallowed hard, lifted the door, and peeked down the stairs. The living room below was a pit of shadows, the kitchen beyond it swallowed by dark. "Dad," I said, half hoping it was him, "come to check on me after our fights." No answer, just the creak of the cabin settling. Or was it something else? I couldn't stay up there, frozen like a scared kid. I had to check. Barefoot, I crept downstairs, each step groaning under my weight. My hand fumbled for the light switch by the living room. Click, the bulb flickered to life, casting a weak glow over the couch, the coffee table, the TV stand. Empty. No one. I let out a shaky breath, telling myself it was nothing. Some drunk yelling outside maybe, or my tired brain playing tricks. I flicked on the outside light next and pressed my face to the front window. The dirt road stretched out, pale under the moon, flanked by bushes and the empty neighbor's house. No one stood there, no footsteps in the dust. I rubbed my eyes, confusion settling in. Had I imagined it? I turned off the living room light and climbed back up, shutting the hatch harder than I meant to. The bang echoed. I crawled into bed, turned the TV back on, and tried to shake the unease gnawing at me. 5 minutes later, it happened. The hatch shuddered under 3 heavy blows, loud and furious, like someone was trying to break it apart. My blood turned to ice. I didn't move, couldn't move. The TV blared on, some laugh track mocking the terror clawing up my throat. Someone was in the house, no question now. Those bangs weren't a mistake or a prank. They were meant to scare me, to let me know I wasn't alone. And that hatch? No lock, nothing stopping them from coming up. I lay there, stiff as a board, eyes locked on the door. My mind raced. Who were they? How'd they get in? The front door had been locked. I checked it when I got home. The back door too. Windows, maybe. Or they'd been here all along, waiting. My stomach twisted at the thought. I counted the seconds, then the minutes, willing myself to stay calm. 20 minutes passed. No more bangs, no footsteps. Just the TV and my ragged breathing. I had to find my phone. Call for help. I patted the nightstand, empty. The bed, nothing. Panic surged. Where was it? Downstairs? In my car? I couldn't remember. I edged toward the hatch again, hands trembling as I lifted it an inch. The TV's flickering lights spilled down the stairs, painting the living room in shifting blues and greys. No movement, no sound. I opened it wider, took a breath, and tiptoed down, every creak a gunshot in the silence. At the bottom, I didn't dare turn on the lights. If they were still here, I didn't want them to see me. I bolted for the back door instead, flung it open and ran barefoot into the night. The dirt was cold and sharp under my feet as I sprinted to the nearest neighbor's house, the one with lights on, the one I'd never bothered to visit. I pounded on their door, frantic. Help! Please, I need a phone. Someone's in my house. A face appeared at the window beside the door. A man, maybe 40, with hollow eyes and a blank stare. He didn't move, didn't speak, just watched me. I banged harder. I'm your neighbor. Please, call the police. My voice cracked, pleading. He heard me. I knew he did, but he didn't budge. His gaze felt wrong, cold, like he was studying me. A chill crept up my spine. What if he wasn't surprised? What if he knew? I backed away, heart hammering. The road was dead, with no other lights in sight. I glanced at my cabin, its windows dark except for the faint glow of the TV upstairs. I had no choice. I ran back, slipped through the back door and locked it behind me. Inside, I flipped every switch I could find. Light flooded the kitchen, the living room, and the stairs. I searched every corner, under the couch, behind the curtains, for an intruder, for my phone, for anything. Nothing. No one. Then I remembered. My car. I'd been so tired earlier, maybe I'd left it there. I grabbed my keys, darted outside, and yanked open the driver's door. There it was, in the center console, screen dark. Relief hit me like a wave. I locked myself in the car, hands shaking as I dialed 911. 911. What's your emergency? Someone's in my house, I whispered, eyes glued to the cabin. I heard them, they banged on my bedroom door. I ran out. I'm in my car now. Stay where you are, the operator said, calm and steady. Police are on the way. Can you see anyone? I squinted at the house. The back door was still closed, lights blazing inside. Then, movement. A shadow crossed the backyard, tall and slow, slipping into the woods beyond. There, I just saw someone. They went into the trees. Stay in the car, she repeated. Officers will be there soon. Minutes dragged like hours. Headlights finally cut through the dark, and a police cruiser rolled up the dirt road. I climbed out, waving them down, and spilled the whole story. The voice, the banging, the man in the woods. One officer, a stocky guy with a flashlight, nodded and headed inside while his partner stayed with me. I watched the beam sweep the windows, then vanish upstairs. He came back 10 minutes later, shaking his head. House is clear. No one's there now. You said you saw them leave. Yeah, into the woods, I said, pointing. Right after I called, he scribbled something in a notebook. Could have been a vagrant. These cabins get break-ins sometimes. You got anywhere else to stay tonight? I thought of my dad's place. Pride stung, but fear won. Yeah, I'll go there. Good. Pack what you need and head out. We'll keep an eye on the area. I grabbed clothes, my charger, and anything I could carry and drove to my dad's. The next day, I went back to the cabin in daylight, nerves still raw. Everything looked normal. Too normal. I stayed one more night, jumping at every sound, then packed the rest and called the landlord. Someone broke in, I told him over the phone. I'm done. Can I get some money back? A pause. Yeah, sure, that's fine. What did the guy look like? I described what little I'd seen. Tall, dark clothes, slow turn of the head. I didn't get a good look. Huh, he said, and hung up. No questions, no concern. Just that. I couldn't shake it. The landlord's quick exit, the neighbor's stare, the intruder who knew my house. Too many pieces didn't fit. Was the landlord hiding something? Did the neighbor know the guy? Were they all tied together, watching me stumble into some mess I didn't understand? Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe it was just bad luck. But as I drove away from that dirt road for the last time, I couldn't shake the feeling that the cabin, and whoever lingered around it, wasn't done with me yet.